Hello guys. Welcome to my channel, Jura Tempest Federation. In our previous episode, we have witnessed the final match of the martial tournament. If you have not watched the previous episode, I will put the link in the description below. To the quick warning, this video contains spoilers from a light novel. But before we proceed further, please like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell for further updates. In this video, we see what is the result of the final match of the martial tournament. Now, without further delay, let's proceed further. I'll give you a taste of it. Magic Wolf Unification. Gobta shouted to Masayuki during the standoff. In that instant, Masayuki realized he had been hopelessly idealistic. Hold up. What the hell is that? I've never heard about that skill before. With Masayuki unable to stop the summon, Gobta had already turned into a different form. Masayuki could not have predicted that. His opponent exuded a powerful aura. Even an amateur such as Masayuki could tell that his opponent was the real thing. Even though he heard that there were healing potions prepared for the contestants, he still had no chance. Oi. If I get scratched by giant claws like that, my garbage armor will turn straight to scrap. If I'd known this would happen, I wouldn't have turned down wearing that full set of heavy armor. That being said, Masayuki was still pretty sure that wearing Magisteel over his entire body wouldn't save him anyway, even if it was appealing. It was then that Gobta shouted, "Hahi, my turn now." Not waiting for any response from Masayuki, he began to draw energy. Hold up, I want to forfeit. Masayuki tried to shout. Given how things had developed, Masayuki realized that he needed to put his dignity aside and save his ass first and foremost. Against someone like the transformed Gobta, victory was unimportant for Masayuki. Yet the situation just kept going downhill for him. Masayuki didn't even get the chance to utter, "I want to forfeit." There was already a loud boom, echoing in the arena. Gobta knocked himself out. Masayuki didn't even have time to react. He stood there dumbfounded. There was a massive gust of wind, and the shockwave sent shrapnel from the stone walls flying everywhere, stinging Masayuki's cheeks. The sense of pain dispelled any illusions that this may have been a dream. No way. I couldn't have dodged that hit. People seem to be explaining this in my favor. No matter what I do, no one would believe my account of what actually took place. What should I do? If this were to continue, Gobta would be disqualified, and Masayuki would be the winner. He thought to himself. What's good about that though? What good was winning in a tournament like this? Earning the right to challenge a demon lord? Are you kidding? That would be suicidal. Masayuki wasn't dumb. He understood that if he won, he would have to fight Demon Lord Rimuru. Masayuki was no match for the dark wolf that just shot past him, or Lion Mask among the other contestants. Yet Demon Lord Rimuru was the head of all these magians. To pick a fight with that kind of character would only result in him getting beaten to a pulp. Or I will most definitely get killed. It was not a matter of whether his skill worked or not, the two of them were on completely different levels. How could Masayuki beat a demon lord? Perhaps I should just admit defeat. Masayuki made up his mind, concluding that this would be the most appropriate. What shadowless body slam? The chatter from the crowd was really annoying. If he did nothing, Gobta would be disqualified and lose the match. Masayuki thought hard. It was the first time in his life that he'd used his brain this much. What can I do to lose the match? The results are in. Well, it is worrisome that contestant Gobta has yet to recover. The winner of the match is. Masayuki immediately took action. Hold on, he interrupted. He was dying of panic inside, yet from the outside, he looked as calm and focused as always. What's the matter? Masayuki reached out quietly, to which Saka acquiesced and passed him the microphone. For this match, wasn't I the one who lost? Masayuki posed the question while trying his hardest to suppress his stuttering voice. But, Masayuki-sama. Saka implored, rather confused. No matter how you judge that, it was contestant Gobta who knocked himself out. That may be the case. However, I failed to see through his attack. I feel that I still have room for improvement. It is a bit too early for me to challenge the Demon Lord now. Masayuki spoke slowly to avoid fumbling his words, while also holding back the nervous sweat. His tone was casual in a way that made his forceful excuse sound natural, in order to be more convincing. Then, Masayuki handed the microphone back and left the stage without a word. He wouldn't reply to any questions. He simply left in silence. My power will be at play now. No matter what I say, the audience will make sense of it all by themselves and come up with some explanation. My priority now is to escape this scene. This was the first time in Masayuki's life that he focused this much on simply moving his feet. And so, Masayuki elegantly escaped from his life's greatest crisis yet. Masayuki suddenly announced his own defeat after Gobta's clearly self-induced KO. What's this guy thinking? No idea. There's no way he would actually be afraid of Gobta. Could there be some other motive? Benimaru and Shion were entrenched in confusion as they watched Masayuki leave the stage. Was this kid bluffing? Or did he have some other plan? Alas, I wouldn't get any answers even if I used up all of my brain juice. But since Masayuki gave up the chance to fight me, everything worked out fine in the end. The spectators were also perplexed. People started speaking up in confusion. Does he plan to hide his real strength in front of the Demon Lord? No, he did just use the incredible shadowless body slam skill. Although he said that he didn't manage to see through the attack, he didn't even get a scratch. No, he actually got a scratch on his face. What did you say? Did Masayuki-sama's face get cut? The crowd erupted into discussion. I see, I finally got it. It was then that a certain man shouted and turned the situation around. Was Masayuki-sama giving the Demon Lord some time to decide? What does that mean? Demon Lord said that he wanted to live with us in peace. Doesn't everyone know about this? That goes without saying. Of course. With that being the case, surely Masayuki was doing it to warn Demon Lord Rimuru, that man said smugly. His surprisingly convincing speech kinda pissed me off. Yet probably because of that, more and more people started to support the idea. And in the end, I see, I finally understand, now that you've put it this way. Masayuki-sama did not draw his sword this time either. You've got sharp eyes, that's right. Masayuki-sama must have wanted to relay the message that he could have won this kind of tournament at any moment. I see. Surely, he also made the implication to the Demon Lord that he wouldn't sit idly by in the face of any wrongdoing, right? That's it. However, even if he were really fighting the Demon Lord, he would probably spare his life, even after defeating him. He doesn't even mind the impact on his reputation. He is truly a magnificent man. That's rad. As expected from Masayuki-sama. Right, he's so handsome. Much like this, people began to justify his actions with all these bizarre explanations. At some point, for some reason, everyone began to praise Masayuki. Masayuki. Why were they chanting? What was this? Some sort of religion? This kind of creeped me out. In response to their support, Masayuki raised an arm as he left. His movement was very rigid, which caught my attention. But honestly, this Masayuki guy was really something else. Why was he praised by everyone like that? Answer. It is possible that the individual Masayuki Hanju possesses the effect of a unique skill. Just as I was convinced of the fact that some unexplainable phenomenons just happen in this world, Wisdom King Raphael Sensei proceeded to set me straight. It was experienced enough at this point that it analyzed Masayuki for me. Masayuki's skills seemed to be the kind that had special effects on people. People under its influence would be manipulated both in terms of thought process and emotion. The reason as to why Masayuki had given up the championship must have been because he had witnessed Gobta's power. This was just my guess, but since he was able to trick and convince Gozer to give up, based on that alone, it was likely that Masayuki didn't think he was able to win against Gozer. Based on this, now that I recalled Masayuki's fighting style, would it even be possible for him to react to his enemy's move at all? No wonder he never drew his weapon. In conclusion, Masayuki's own combat ability must not have been that great to begin with, or at least something along those lines. Even Hinata wasn't able to tell how strong Masayuki was, which was natural, considering how weak he was anyway. With that being said, he still should not be underestimated. After all, he had a huge amount of influence, and antagonizing him would just bring trouble. These kinds of people simply couldn't be overlooked, and thus I felt the need to establish a good relationship with him. In order to achieve this goal, I plan to say something along the lines of, "Kukuku, I know your little secret to threaten Masayuki, just kidding." Masayuki was likely racking his brain on how to deal with Gozer during their match, especially since he couldn't run away in front of his companions. I'd talk to him later, and comfort him about his hard work. After which I would propose future cooperation. I could cleverly advertise Masayuki as a chosen hero, and use him to promote the labyrinth. Sae, please send a message to Masayuki. Tell him that I wish to meet him. Understood. Please be very cautious about this. Invite him to have lunch with me afterward. I did want to speak with him, mainly because we were both Japanese. I also planned to ask Hakuryu to make us some sushi. Hopefully, things would go well. While I was thinking about Masayuki, Gobta seemed to have regained consciousness. Saka and Diablo renewed their judgment and decided to accept Masayuki's proposal. Although there were a series of unexpected incidents throughout, due to the forfeit of contestant Masayuki, the winner of the tournament is Gobta. The arena was awash with dissatisfaction. No wonder. The final that everyone had been so hyped for ended up with Gobta's self-elimination. In addition, Masayuki quit after the match. It was only natural that these paying customers would want their money back. But they were the minority after all. Since Masayuki himself accepted the result, the crowd didn't really have many complaints against me. Gobta's abilities were already recognized by most people. I suppose that this was also one of the reasons why there weren't waves of complaints at the scene. That being said, the bad rap Gobta had for a conniving personality didn't fade. Everyone seemed to think that he was a despicable man. Come, contestant Gobta. How do you feel right now? Is this real? Am I really the champion? Indeed. Gobta's active involvement in the match has truly been phenomenal. Saka prays, inflating his ego. You were seriously able to say that with a straight face. All Gobta did was charge into a wall and get himself knocked out. All in all, the final match ended. I personally came on stage and commemorated each contestant. I spoke with all 8 of them and commended their excellent performance. As for Masayuki's companion Jinrai, as promised, I rewarded him with the newly made armor. Kai, upon seeing this, grumbled that he wanted one too. But since I never made such a deal with him, I proceeded to ignore him. Masayuki's answer to Saoi, on the other hand, was I'll come. He looked quite determined. Did he misunderstand something? Anyhow, I'd resolved the misunderstanding when we sat down and talked. The last contestant was Gobta. Nice job, Gobta. From now on, I officially appoint you as one of the 4 Heavenly Kings. While I was surprised by the way the matches had developed, a win was still a win. And as promised, Gobta would become one of the 4 Heavenly Kings. He was probably the best candidate for a pin-up. Even if he lost a fight, all we had to say was, Kukuku, this guy is the weakest of the 4 Heavenly Kings, the disgrace of the 4 Heavenly Kings. He was so fit for that role. The thought of it gave me shivers. Thank you. I'll work hard in the future as well. And so, the first Tempest Martial Tournament concluded smoothly. That's it for today, guys. See you next one. For further more update, please like, share and subscribe. And do not forget to push notification bell.